Hello everyone, welcome back to Suburban Gardening, and today I am going to show you how I know that some of my onions are ready. So if you see, this one over here has flopped over, and if you feel the stem over here, it's soft compared to this one, which is still hard. I can't push in it. So this one is squishy, and so I know this one is ready to pick, so I will go ahead and pick this onion. This is my first time growing onions, so I am so excited to have homegrown onions. Look at that one. And then I think oh man, it smells awesome. It smells just like an onion. I mean, I guess, why wouldn't it, right? And then I have this one over here that's also fallen over, and if I feel the stem, it's nice and squishy and pliable. So I'm gonna pull this one. Now they're not the biggest onions, but you know, I grew 5 or 6 in each of these grow bags. I'm pretty happy, pretty successful, I would say. So I'm gonna put the onions in a bowl, and I'm gonna continue picking some of these onions. This one, it looks like this one is ready. This one, the yellow onions in this bag, it looks like. This one looks like it. I think that one's my biggest one yet. Looking good. This one's a little small one, but it's also flopped over, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick that. Now we have, I have some in my other garden bed. Now some of these like green onions aren't looking the greatest, so I'm not really sure what's going on with this one. So I do want to pick it. It is soft and pliable, but the onion's looking pretty good, so I guess I will still enjoy that one. Oh, and I also had a purple onion planted here. I totally forgot about that. So that's a nice surprise. Some of these others that need to be picked as well. All right, so not a bad haul. So some of these onions did start to go seed, it's called bolting, and these are called scapes. And this one is actually starting to open. It wasn't open when I had pulled it off originally, but you can kind of see there's the flower buds in there. These are actually edible. I'm not planning on eating them, but I hear that you can use them like garlic in a dish. Maybe at some point I'll try it. So I think I'm going to dry some of these onions that I just picked. But I did notice this one that I picked that has like the brownish yellow tops. It's looking a little bit gooey over here, so I don't think this is a good candidate to be dried, so I will probably just take this in the house and use this in the next day or two. I think the onion is still good, just need to cut off the parts where it's a little bit mushy, and it'll be just fine. So I'm going to set that one aside. Another point that I wanted to make is that when you're laying out your onions to dry, you don't want to wash them first. So you just want to just kind of brush them off a little bit and then lay them out. So since I'm going to dry most of these, I don't think I'm going to dehydrate these, but I will show you what I did with the dehydrated onions as well. So now, you know, this is all the space that I want to dedicate to drying onions, so I'm just going to come in here and sort of overlap them so that the bulb is sitting up off the ground and not on top of the other bulbs. And I do have my cooling racks here that I normally make, use when I make cookies or something like that. And that's all the onions I have. So these green onions I am going to chop off and dehydrate. This one over here doesn't look so good, so I'm just going to discard those. And the onion bulbs, I'm going to chop and either refrigerate or use them in the next few days. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but those are the options I'm going to do. You can dehydrate the yellow or the bulb part. However, I hear that it makes your house a little bit stinky. So I haven't tried that yet, but I think I really want to use them fresh, so I will probably just refrigerate them. So I'm just chopping off the stems here. I'll chop off the bad ones here. I'm going to discard those. These other ones I am going to chop up. And mean, I don't have the best knife skills, but it doesn't really matter. You do want them to be relatively the same size so they dehydrate about the same time. I do have some extra stuff on here. I'll just take that off. But when you dehydrate them, you do want them to come out so they're nice and crispy and they crumble in your hand. You don't want to have them mushy at all, otherwise they will mold and you'll have to throw them out. So these onion tips are a little bit brown and this one's a little bit limp and not looking so great, so I'm just going to chop those and discard those. Okay, so now I got all these green onions chopped. I did want to mention these onion stems. This is the part that's closest to the onion bulb. You see how it's solid over here. These you either need to dehydrate separately, separate the rings by pushing them out so you get several different rings, or just know that they're going to take longer to dehydrate. Alternatively, you can set them aside and use them in a meal, you know, cooking immediately or within a couple days. So I'm just putting these green onions on the dehydrating tray and kind of spreading them out a little bit. These will need to be dehydrated at 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 35 degrees Celsius. And where I am in Texas, it'll take probably about 12 hours. It really depends on your humidity and your house and area. And I have dehydrated the onion tops before, so these onions that I had picked today, all my onions, I chopped their onion tops off and dehydrated them, and I put them in these jars. And it's important after you put them in here for a week, you put them in and you shake them once or twice a day and make sure none of them are sticking to the bottom or the sides. If they are, you need to dump them back out on your dehydrating trays and dehydrate some more. I have vacuum sealed these jars, so you can see I can't push in the lids, so they will store longer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the onions. I also have been dehydrating some lettuce in here in my Kasori dehydrator. So I'm just 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and I just have 40 hours because I'm just gonna check it. Doesn't really matter what the timer says. I'm just gonna check it about after 9 hours, I'll start checking on it. But if it dehydrates a little bit longer, not gonna be an issue. It'll still be dry. So this is the onion that has some bad spots. I just peel it off where it was a little bit mushy, and as you can see, it's just fine. And typically if the onion was dried, I would probably cut off this part of the stem, but since I just picked it, I know it's fresh and it'll be okay. I'm going to be eating this onion in the next couple of days. So I am just going to chop up this onion. So I finished chopping those 3 onion bulbs. These are going to be put in this airtight container, and this is probably enough for 2 meals of my family of 4. I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider hitting that like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I love to hear from you, and I will reply to as many comments as I can.